What's going on, guys? Wave from Revolution here with Chris Grainger, CEO of IWC. How are you, sir?
Hello, I'm very good. How are you?
Fantastic. Nice to meet you. Again,
nice
in the Watches and Wonders after 2 years. We're finally free of the pandemic. 3 years after.
3 full years since 2019 Watches and Wonders. Huh?
Incredible. I mean, it's so nice to actually be in a human fair again with actual human beings. I think that watches in particular, they're related to touch, feel, wearing them on the wrist, and also relating to the human beings behind the brand. So I'm delighted to be here with you today, sir.
And occasionally a bit of Instagram. You're right, yes.
And a bit of Instagram, indeed. And hopefully not as much Zoom as we just experienced for the last 2 years.
That's why we now introduce the metaverse. At least we can see each other in 3D rather than 2D on Zoom.
Exactly.
But we always say, you know, we either meet each other in VR or AR, which is actual reality, and that's what we're doing now. So
thank you. Well, actual reality is the way to be. And sir, can I just ask you a little bit about the new watches for IWC this
100%. So this phase, you know, we started off at last Watches and Wonders with the big Pilot collection, the Pilot Extension. This is the final phase of that launch, dedicated to Top Gun. The campaign is called The Colors of Top Gun, and it comes from the inventor of colored ceramic watches all the way back in '86, IWC doing the Da Vinci's and some crazy colors.
I remember. Yes.
You remember that one?
Yes.
40 years of experience, ceramic construction, 40 years of purified zirconium oxide experience, going into, first of all, our black ceramic watches ever since your beloved 3705, and then later on, of course, the Top Gun collection since 2007.
Right.
But more importantly, when we started working with our colleagues in the US Navy, we figured out that aviators are quite flamboyant when it comes to their taste. So they are saying, you can take that black stuff with you.
Really?
You know, bring us blue, bring us baby blue, bring us bronze. You know, there's a huge variety of tastes. Now, I think that, together with some of the inspirations we found in the operating environment of what we see in naval aviation, you've got the Mojave Desert, where a lot of the training grounds are. You have these jets that are desert-colored flight suits. We have the olive green flight suits and harnesses, survival equipment. That inspired us to expand the range, bring in some more colors, and create something that has a nice balance between the boldness and the actual understatement that should be in an IWC.
Right.
So we teamed up with Pantone, Global Color Authority, similar engineering approach to us, to actually define and code and engineer and certify the color codes for these ceramic colors. Because when we did the Mojave Desert in the beginning, which was the first colored ceramic we introduced in 2019, you have very different manufacturing processes behind the zirconium oxide case. You have the dial, you have the superluminova, you have all the print elements, and of course the strap and the inlay textile. And to color match these different manufacturing processes perfectly, there was no structure for that. So it was a pure trial and error kind of matching.
Right.
And Pantone really helped us to develop the standard for us to put all of these different manufacturing processes together and get this monochromatic look. But ultimately, we know, yes, it's got a military inspiration, but today it's in sneakers, it's in apparel, it's in iPhones, it's everywhere. You have these technical color codes, and that's really what we're trying to do here.
Right.
Yeah, we are. But maybe we start off on some of the black watches.
Please.
So just very simply, in terms of pure ceramic, we launched the Big Pilot 43mm last year.
Yes.
And this is now the 43mm Top Gun in black ceramic. You've got that highly wearable 43mm case, much more ergonomic, opens the Big Pilot up to a whole new audience, and this one is now the first ceramic version of that.
Fantastic.
Automatic 82 caliber movement. We are the only ones to use standard ceramic parts in our movements. We have the central bearing around the central pinion, the translation to the peloton winding system, all in ceramics, and then the winding clicks and the main winding wheel also in zirconium oxide ceramics.
That's fantastic.
Titanium case back with inner soft iron inner case, magnetic field protection, titanium crown, and our easy exchange quick change system on the strap.
I was going to ask you
this one.
So it retains the quick change system as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you.
And then from the black ceramic, you know, we have our own proprietary material called Serratanium, which is a ceramic titanium, which is basically the scratch resistance of 1300 Vickers of a ceramic surface, combined with the structural integrity of titanium.
Yes.
Titanium normally 400 Vickers, this is a lot harder, and we're now presenting the 41mm chronograph in black Serratanium on full Serratanium bracelets. So you've got sapphire glass case back. You have again the quick change system on the Serratanium bracelet, micro adjustment on there, and the whole thing completely Serratanium engineered.
That's phenomenal. I've always had so much admiration for this material, the idea of combining the two best qualities of titanium and also ceramic to have this surface treatment that makes it essentially impervious to scratching at 1300 Vickers.
Yep.
Brilliant. I love the integration of the bracelet into this Pilot 41mm and the fact that the entire thing now is Serratanium. Absolutely beautiful. I like also that clearly you've been working with the Pantone thing, because everything here is actually really visible, but also kind of like, you know, matching perfectly as well with that.
And again, it's very interesting that depending on the size of the component, when we fire these components, if you were to fire them all at the same formula at the same time, they all ended up different colors.
Really?
So you have to adjust the firing process for every single bit, so that in the end you have the same color.
Wow.
Because the crown reacts different from the pushers, from the bracelet, from the case. It all fires differently. So
Based on the size of the component.
based on the size, based on the overall mass of Serratanium involved, it all behaves differently.
So that must have been a real pain because you got all these different size links also for the bracelet as well, right?
Yeah. And then occasionally it all blows up, which is also really annoying.
Really?
Well, yeah, because titanium machining, the oil mist is highly flammable.
Yes.
So if you have a single spark in the titanium machining, it's quite an effect.
Well, as I recall, you guys were the very first to make luxury watch titanium cases, and if I'm not mistaken, this idea of the spark was a real challenge back in the day.
That's why my colleagues all have sort of charred hair.
Yes, they're missing eyebrows.
Missing eyebrows.
Fantastic. Thank you, sir.
Exactly. So from there we go into the colored ceramics. You're familiar with these. This is the Mojave Desert. Maybe just pick out one just to explain that again. So this is the sand-colored ceramic, inspired by the Mojave Desert training grounds, by the desert-colored flight suits. And here we have really the combination of all of the best of IWC in a sense, because you have colored ceramic in the case, you have that iconic sports watch case of the Big Pilot, titanium crown case back, you have 7 days power reserve, 52 caliber, huge sports caliber, and then on top Kurt Glas's perpetual calendar for 199 years, 42-year display, double moon, double hemisphere, all of that. 150 pieces per year, annual limited production.
Brilliant.
What more do you want?
It's funny, I remember when I was in a CR, the guy I met in the elevator, and he wanted to know if IWC was showing there at the time, and I was like, why? He's like, I need to go find myself in Mojave.
Yeah.
So I think he ran over and probably harassed one of you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's very cool. Thank you, sir.
First new ceramic color we're introducing this year is IWC Woodland. So this is our olive green. I think that strikes a perfect balance between the technical detailing, understatement overall look, but still quite bold in its coloring. So here you have the perfect fusion of all of these different elements to that woodland forest green. We have Serratanium pushers, case back with an outer ceramic ring. You've got a textile inlay, a rubber strap, and just bringing all those different texture materials together gives that tactical look, but it's still, on the wrist, quite an understated piece.
So while the case is ceramic, the pushers are Serratanium.
And the case back is Serratanium with an outer ceramic ring. So because what I wanted to do is really make sure that when we look at these watches inside elevation, you want a perfect green finish. Right. But since the case back is responsible for the waterproofing, needs to screw into the titanium container, we need to have a metallic actual case back. But we use this outer ceramic ring to make sure that the side elevation is perfectly monochromatic. Brilliant. And again, 43mm Big Pilot in that woodland finish. Just a nice. It wears even more compact in the colored ceramic. Dark Serratanium crown.
That's stunning.
1,000 pieces per year on the Chronograph, and 500 on the Big Pilot 43. And then finally, Stormtrooper.
That watch is amazing.
So we basically go from planet Tatooine to planet Endor, is it? Now on to planet Hoth. No, here we go. So this is the
amazing.
Lake Tahoe. You might have seen that on Eileen's goose wrist. So this has a contrasty dial.
Incidentally, what an awesome ambassador to have.
I know. So I caught up with her in November skiing in Austria. I thought, I can ski. Then I went to the top of the fun park, as they call it, which is the slopestyle parks. Biggest jump on the World Cup circuit in Stubaital. Respect. I'm just going to have a practice one. 1540 switch.
How did the relationship with her begin?
Well, I met her. Literally, his first contact for Ricardo, we met up in Austria. We had a long conversation in a terrible spa hotel. But this was just before Beijing and finishing a couple of World Cups. And then, she's done amazingly well. And
incredible.
What a talent. And she's humble, focused, eloquent.
Her poise is extraordinary.
Amazing athlete. And obviously, we couldn't have been happier to score 2 golds in the silver. It's been brilliant. So
absolutely amazing.
Looking forward to working with her.
Thank you, sir. Dude, this is awesome.
It's cool, huh?
This is fantastic. And I kind of like also that it gets a bit of a clin d'oeil back to 1986 when you're doing the white ceramic watches as well.
I'm quite got the gold pushers on that, but exactly. Close.
Very cool. And also limited to 1,000 pieces?
1,000 pieces per year.
So how are you managing the sort of discrepancy between the very large number of people that want to buy the watches and the limited amount of watches that you have?
Yeah.
I guess it's a,
Yeah, so we literally work with our known customer base, and we know with qualified contacts from our retail network as well, and that's really how we're managing it. We want to make sure that this is not reselling wherever avoidable, that it really goes to passionate people who enjoy the watches. So that's the process.
Just walking around the booth, I really love the messaging that you're giving, because it's really a messaging that's much more product focused.
Yeah.
You've always had this as one of the great parts of your authenticity, and it's nice to see it expressed.
Yeah, that's true, and I think there's a couple of things. I think having now worked purely digitally for a couple of years, it's also nice to go to this hybrid format where we're bringing the message much more out to the customer rather than asking everybody to come here. So this is the beginning of the roadshow. All of these containers are going to go to the global roadshow as they are. So we've built a white box this time, put the roadshow setup inside to be able to bring that out. We've got 3 live streaming studios here where we're really managing all of the global presentations, and we're in the metaverse for the first time with our spatial environment. You can don your Oculus goggles and actually interact with us in VR and 3D with our avatars at least. And you can see all the watches there as well. So that's next level of 3D zoom at least.
Extraordinary. Well, Chris, thank you so much for your time. The watches are awesome.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Good to see you.
Have a great fair, man.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks.